Good from John Kondwani Dombola from Malawi. With me came together with Joseph Chuula. We'll be presenting only the challenges of ASM in Malawi and the role of Geological Survey Department. As usual, we have the outline, which has introduction, ASM in Malawi, some ASM operations, gemstone in Malawi, gold panning in Malawi and other ASM operations, role of Geological Survey Department, structure or establishment, the core functions, roles of GST in ASM operations, ASM registration if any, challenges in the ASM sector, government initiatives and the instruments governing ASM, then the mineral rights involved. As an introduction, we are saying that the activities of ASM are on the rise in Malawi, and this is due to the fact that they are a source of livelihood, and then as a government we think that it can be a source of poverty reduction also, and there might be some rural urban migration reduction due to employment just right in the rural areas. I hope you are seeing on the board. So those are just some of the pictures of some of the ASM activities. So it's expanding, as you may see in the left, and then I think to the right there are some guys digging or prospecting for amethyst. Our major ASM operations in Malawi include the gemstone mining, gold panning, and then there's I would say maybe it's a mistake, we was outright limestone and marbles. In this case we have been getting terrazzo, but forgive us. Then the ceramics, rock aggregate, and also salt making. So as you can see, ASM activities in Malawi are across the country. That's just a small map of Malawi. It's about 118,000 square kilometers. It's not as big as some of you. Yeah, so in terms of gemstone mining, we have several of them. And of particular significance, we have aquamarine in the north, then rubies and sapphire in the center, garnets, amethyst across the country, rose quartz and quartz, these are common, and then agates within the volcanics of southern Malawi. And we are saying that these gemstones are usually occurring in the pegmatites, and the others are alluvial or alluvial. Away from gemstones, one of the most important activities in terms of ASM is gold panning. There are several gold indications in Malawi, notably in the Kick Range. This is the central part of Malawi, covering districts of Chuula and Manganese. And then we have also some activities in the south, also in the north. But let me point out that at this stage, we don't know the source rock of these gold occurrences. Hence, these illegal miners are mainly panning industries. So as you can see, this is in the southern Malawi. We go to Mangochi district, close to Lake Malawi, and those are some of the gold panning activities. Just an example, you may look at it and you can see how significant this thing is in terms of environmental damage, the siltation of the streams, and you have also even businesses right in the panning areas. You can see there might be if you look at this, somewhere there are people selling there, maybe clothes and other things right in the panning area. So it's a source of it has a multiplier effect in terms of the local community. They pan and immediately go and buy clothes, and life goes on. some other operations which are many, we did not want to write them in detail, but we are saying that there is also a lot of limestone and marble activities. These are done by small-scale miners. Usually they are crushing, others are maybe using for terrazzo, for topstone, and they also for cement, and there's also for agriculture use. And then there's the carbonatic glaze. This is used mainly for production of ceramic products, mainly central Malawi, and so it's also one of the source of life in the country. And then there's the dimension stones, more like ornamental stones. We have several granites in Malawi, and even cyanites, but of particular significance are the spotlights, Amazonites, pink granites, black granites, which some may also call maybe metagabros. These are also used for different activities. And also there's some salt making exercise, usually from the evaporites in the evaporating pans in some of our lakes and mainly in the lower Chile, in southern Malawi. The effects of these other ASM operations, as I've indicated, they are similar to gold panning and gemstone mining. Now, what's the role of Geological Survey? First of all, the mandate. Why do we exist? We exist because we acquire, monitor, update, archive, and disseminate scientific information of Malawi in order to foster socio-economic development. That's the mandate. And just in brief, this department was established in 1922 by the British royal government. Then it was Geological Survey of Malawi. The main aim was to expedite the development of mineral resources of the country and also to explore for groundwater resources. But for groundwater, this has been linked to Ministry of Water and Irrigation. We are not doing it anymore. Geological Survey Department has 4 main divisions, but of interest are the technical divisions, just for information. So we have the geomapping division, where I draw. So this is involved in regional mapping, environmental geology, and the data unit. The mineral exploration division, where Mr. Chuula belongs. That's where exploration activities take place. Anything to do with geochemistry, geophysics, drilling happens that side. Then the laboratories is the 3rd division, which does analysis. And they also where thin sections are being prepared, and also an area where industrial minerals laboratories are located. Yeah, so that was just who we are in Malawi as Geological Survey, and then what are our core functions as Geological Survey Department? So the first one is to do systematic mapping and documentation of the geology of Malawi. I think that's a core function for each of most of the geological surveys. And then carry out mineral exploration. Why? To unveil the mineral potential of the country. Then we also involved in mapping of geological hazards, earthquakes, and landslides, others for land use planning. Then the other core function which has brought us here is to provide technical services to these small-scale miners in prospecting and mineral identification. I think we will dwell on this a bit, but let me proceed just to list them. Then undertake collaborative geoscientific research with local and international institutions. Provide technical and advice to the general public. So, what do we do in the ASM? ASM, just in brief, we are not more in ASM, but we have a sister department, which is the Department of Mines. I think that's where they do a lot of ASM activities. They have got a unit specifically for ASM activities. But because we are talking of mineral occurrences, then we have to come in as well. So what do we support? We support by providing information, like any other mining investor which comes to the country. They come to us and then we provide information. So this is true to ASM as well. Then, as I said, in collaboration with the Department of Mines in Lilongwe, which is the capital city, we do provide some sort of training in prospecting, health and safety, and sustainable mining. We also provide laboratory services, mainly to assist in the identification of some of the minerals. And then, as it was also pointed out in some other geological surveys, we also do provide certificate of inspections. This assists the ASM miners to go to the Department of Mines and meet the Commission of Mines and Minerals to get the export permit. Before export permit, they have to meet us. Then we do evaluation and we provide the certificate of inspection. On the request, this is on a request. We do provide services like maybe interpreting an area of an ASM person if there is any potential for any mineral occurrences. We do not have registered ASM activities, but some speculations indicate that 400 operators have been registered, but we may have as more than maybe 1,600 ASM activities which are not known properly. And we believe that the benefit of these activities may go up to maybe 20,000 people. Challenges. I think that was the key topic of why we are coming to this workshop. So, I think this is across maybe to other countries as well. ASM operations in Malawi are mostly informal and they are sustainable in nature. That's a challenge. And then there is no collaboration at all, or poor collaboration between ASM and large-scale mining companies. Lack of appropriate technology results in low productivity and environmental degradation. That's a problem which also is associated with ASM activities. Generally, there is a poor use of occupational safety and the PPPs. Then the lack of capital. That's one. ASM generally they are not organized, not well defined, and especially this is with the limestone operators. Rampart smuggling of precious and precious minerals is also common. Then there is very little attempt in terms of value addition. So most of the mineral gemstones that are sold as raw as they are, so they fetch an incremental price at the market. In element trading, I said we do provide trading, but I think that's not enough. And the ASM activities usually are not taxed, because they are illegal. Those who are legal, they come to get maybe export payments where royalties paid. But those who are illegal, which is a good number, and they go scot-free. Child labor is common. Yeah, so those are some of the challenges. And then what is government doing to counter these challenges? Deliberately, government has updated its geological information. First of all, there was the airport physical survey, that is high resolution, 2013-14, with the methods of magnetics and gravity. It was done, data has been interpreted, and now there is another project which is doing ground mapping. This land mapping project, known as the Geological Mapping and Milimo Assessment Project, in this project, deliberately, we have included ASM activities. Why? Because we would like to train them, to provide the equipment, and to formalize them into cooperatives. That's a deliberate movement the government has done. To date, I would say that 8 cooperatives have been formed and 12 more in the pipeline. In Malawi, there was only one university which was training geologists mainly, no mine engineers, geologists mainly degree level. But now, other institutions have been identified within the country, and the other one, I would say, recently constructed, where some mining-related disciplines have been introduced, maybe at the global level and at the field level. We think this in mid-term will provide the much-needed experts, maybe in exploration, mining, and validation. So, ASM will benefit from that as well. And also, other quarters are championing the creation of a constitution for ASM. This is in a way like formal trust, and it's being championed by a small and medium interest development institute. So this is I don't have much information, but that's what I know. I hear that and I found out from the department of mine that indeed this thing is there, but I can't elaborate much on this. Instruments governing the ASM sector. We have the Mines and Minerals Act of 1981. It's an old act, but now this one is being revised. It's at the stage of a bill, and is to be debated in the Parliament soon. And then there is the Mines and Minerals Policy of 2030, where ASM issues are also tackled. And then, as I'm saying now, there is a draft artisanal and a small-scale mining policy. This has been submitted for cabinet approval. So these are the 3 main instruments which are governing the ASM issues in Malawi, apart from the EMA, the Environmental Management Act, being administered by the Environmental Affairs Department. But that is cross-cutting. Mineral rights, mainly there are 3, or I should say 2. There's the non-exclusive prospecting license, NDPA, the mining claim license, MCM, and then the reserve minerals license, RMI. And the NDPA is granted for 1 year, that is according to the 1981 Act. But if the new bill is passed, they need to be get ready for 2 years. This one is, I think, like in most countries, where it allows the holder to prospect in any district for any minerals identified on the license. And the NPL holder, if he is successful, may graduate into an MCM mining claim license. So I think the reserve mineral license mainly is for buying and selling, but it can be given to anyone. And there are several minerals which have been identified into on his license to any part of the world. In conclusion, this sector is poverty. However, if it is well regulated, the sector can contribute to social economic development of the country.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rulele. I'm from Botswana Geoscience Institute, which is the Geological Survey of Botswana. I'll present on the challenges of the ASM sector in Botswana and the role of Botswana Geoscience Institute. This is my presentation outline. I have the introduction, the legislative framework, prospecting, application for a prospecting license, for a mining license and a mineral permit, other acts, the physical regime, small-scale mining in Botswana, sand mining challenges, and the role of PGI. I want to emphasize that in Botswana we don't have the terminology artisanal in our vocabulary, so I stick to the small-scale mining. So this is the map of Africa showing where Botswana is located. We are in southern Africa, surrounded by, we're a landlocked country, surrounded by Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Angola. So the area of Botswana is around 670 kilometers squared. I wanted to read it like the Zoom. Botswana's modern day mining started in around the 70s. Minerals mined in Botswana are diamond, copper, nickel, coal, gold, soda ash, and other various industrial minerals. Mining is a major contributor of the GDP in Botswana, and it contributes around 23.1% of the total GDP, and the income per capita is around $6,788 US. So the population of Botswana were only around 2.2 million. Legislation administered in Botswana. So we have the Mines and Minerals Act, and we also have some other legislatures like the Precious and Semi-Precious Stones Act. We have the Export and Import of Rare Diamonds regulations. We have the Diamond Cutting Act. We have the Precious Metals Act, the Mines, Quarries, Works and Machinery Act, and the Explosives Act and Regulations. The Mines and Mineral Act provides that all rights and ownership of minerals in Botswana is vested in the government. In recognition of our land tenure system with regards to tribal land, the tribal leadership ceded mineral rights to the Republic under the Mineral Rights in Tribal Territories. The Acquisition of Property Act further allows the government to compulsorily acquire property in the public interest, and land has been so acquired to allow mining with adequate compensation in accordance with the Constitution. Exploration and exploitation of minerals is governed by the Mines and Minerals Act, which was first enacted in 1969. It was later revised in 1976, and for now we are using the act that was currently revised in 1999. But the act is still under review. For a prospecting license, if you are issued a prospecting license, first the initial period of the license takes 3 years, then you can renew it twice. Then we also have the retention license, which is issued for a period of 3 years. So retention licenses are usually issued for minerals that are not economic at that time. So we also have the mining license, which is issued for up to 25 years, and it can also be renewed after the 25 years has elapsed. We also have the mineral permits, which are issued for industrial minerals, and are issued for up to 5 years, and they can be renewed after the 5 years has elapsed. We have other acts like the Diamond Cutting Act, let me talk briefly about prospecting. Prospecting is to quantify the mineralization and to define the shape, size, and mineral content of the deposit. All of the above step-by-step procedures in exploration activities are paired with the objective to fairly ascertain that the deposit is economically viable by providing a detailed knowledge of the geology for a clear financial picture. So the application requirements for a prospecting license, we have a form that we call it Form 1. So in this form we have to provide a detailed prospecting program. Then you also have to provide a financial statement to prove that indeed you can carry out exploration. And you also have to provide maybe the CVs for the technical people that will be carrying out the exploration, like the geologists and other people. And you also have to provide a detailed environmental management plan to show how you will rehabilitate your area, maybe after mining and prospecting. Application requirements for a mining license or for a mining mineral permit. The valid prospecting license or waiver from prospecting is issued by the PL Prospecting License Unit, and this is done by our sister department, the Department of Mines. So we can provide waivers for the industrial minerals, like maybe sand mining. So that's why we usually provide waivers. So you also have to provide the bankable feasibility report. And the consent from holder of a mineral concession, which overlaps with applied for in case waiver from prospecting is issued. So you also have to get the surface rights from the land authorities or landowner in case of the freehold areas. Application requirements continue. You also have to provide the environmental impact assessment plus environmental management plan, which is usually approved by the Department of Environmental Affairs. And academic impact assessment areas from the Department of National Museum, because most of these areas are the heritage sites, so we don't usually want to tamper maybe with them. You also have to get the clearance from the Department of Wildlife and National Parks in case your prospecting area is inside the parks. Application for mining license or mineral permits submitted to the Department of Mines after fulfilling above requirements. Then can issue a Form B for a mining license, and they also have to complete Form 7 for mineral permit. The physical regime. These are the rentals, like the fees that we pay for prospecting licenses, mining license, substantial license, and the mineral permit. So for a prospecting license, you pay around in dollars. Yeah, no, I want to convert to dollars. So that but one Pula is equals to 1.01 kwacha. So you figure out the conversion then.
It's about $50.
Yes. Our currency is almost equivalent to the kwacha. Small scale mining in Botswana. So most of the operations, small scale mining operations is all sand mining. So these are some of the sand miners in Botswana, and you can see that the river is almost degraded. There's no sand. They took all the sand in the river. So we also have quarrying caststone production. So this picture is one of the quarries that is producing aggregates and sand in Botswana, because around the city of Botswana in Gaborone, so all the rivers, they no longer have sand. So as a government, we have decided to produce manufactured sand. So with the help of the SGU, the Cities Geological Survey, so we backed on a project that was aimed at producing manufactured sand. So in our area we use around the city, in areas around the city we use manufactured sand. So we no longer use sand from the rivers. So even now we have banned issuing of licenses for sand harvesting around the city. So that's why you saw that picture. Those are some of the illegal sand miners in Botswana. So this, we call it small scale mining. Although there's large investments in these areas, because in our law, it's like all industrial minerals, we call them small scale. Even if there is large investment, like you can see this plant, it costed millions of monies. We also have clay mining. So these are some of the bricks that we make in Botswana. Very good quality ones. We even imported them to Namibia. Oh no, export. Oh, sorry. We also have gravel mining. We also have agates. Yeah, that's all are the only gemstones we have. We only have agates in Botswana. So these are some of the agates that we have in Botswana. So these are some of the pictures that show the illegal sand miners. Sand mining challenges. The sand mining contributes to the construction of buildings and development. So the environmental issues is that there is permanent loss of sand in river systems, and the deepening of the river beds and natural extension of the river bed is loss of the sand aquifer, and this causes erosion in the rivers. We also have challenges with the oil mines, because some of them, these miners, they left some pits that need to be rehabilitated. And we also have challenges with the cross-border illegal miners. And the role of Botswana Geoscience Institute. As I said earlier, we used to be called the Department of Geological Survey, but for now we are called Botswana Geoscience Institute. So BGI, or Botswana Geoscience Institute, was established through an Act of Parliament which was passed in 2014. The purpose of BGI is to undertake research in the field of geosciences and provide specialized geoscientific services. We are also the custodian of the geoscience information. We also promote search for and exploration of any mineral in Botswana. But we do grassroots mineral exploration, because mostly we don't go up to the bankable feasibility studies. We also act as an advisory body in respect of geohazards and other incidental matters. So in short, Botswana Geoscience Institute continues the role fulfilled by the former Department of Geological Surveys. That's the end of my presentation. But I want to add something before this. So, because I did not include here in the presentation, but I think it is important. I want to, this one concerns the small scale miners, because as the role of BGI also, we do, in order to empower the small scale miners, we do exploration in some of the areas up to resource quantification. From there we tender out the sites to some of to Botswana, to the locals only, so that then they can take up the project. Maybe they can continue the bankable feasibility studies and then into mining. So we do it free of charge, then they just buy tenders at a subsidized price. And for now, it's like we tender around 3 parasites for sand manufacturing. And we also tendered around 2 sites for clays, for brick making. And for now, we are also in the process. We are still doing some exploration on the cement grade limestones. And after we continue our investigations, we'll tender out those sites for cement production. Thank you very much.
In my introduction, it is a fact that artisanal and small-scale mining is a critical poverty reduction strategy. However, this undertaking is done under dangerous conditions. So it's very important that we identify the hazards that are associated with this activity in order to have them under control. The reasons attributed to the negative impacts that it entails for miners and their families is because mostly our operators have no skills in health and safety management, and usually they are not policed. They are not adequately policed by regulatory agencies. Some of them due to remote location, and also because they don't have the resources to actually acquire the required equipment in order for them to manage health and safety. So under chemical hazards, we are going to look at mercury, which is used as a way of extracting gold. So the use of mercury is used in a process called amalgamation. This process, in yesterday's presentation, we had how the process is done, which is mixing mercury with the gold-containing minerals, which forms a mercury gold amalgam, which is then heated to vaporize the mercury so that the gold is liberated. When this gold is liberated, the toxic fumes that comes, the mercury fumes, is very harmful to human beings. We heard that even water is used to wash the mercury, so that water will also enter the environment, join the water courses, which also cause pollution. So the pollution that gets into the rivers will actually contaminate the water, and then the fish that is in those rivers is also contaminated. So when people consume that fish, they are also affected by mercury. So the effects of mercury affects the nervous system. So the neurological and behavioral disorders may be observed after inhalation of mercury, ingestion, or even demo application. That is, if you wash in the river or water that is contaminated with mercury. And the symptoms are tremors, insomnia, memory loss, headaches, and cognitive motor function. Then when pregnant women are subjected to mercury, they also affect their pregnancies. So the fetus is affected. So the child may be born with mental retardation, vision and hearing loss, and delayed development, including language disorder. So what can we do to control the use of mercury? In the hierarchy of control of hazards, the first priority that is given is to eliminate the hazard. So in this context, we are saying the best is to stop using mercury. The second consideration that we do in managing an hazard is to reduce or substitute. So if there is any other means that we can use to control the effects of mercury, is by using another method of processing the gold. The other consideration that we make is an engineering control, whereby even when we are using mercury, we are able to control it on the aspect of affecting an individual. We control the spills that can get into the environment or that can affect someone. We control it from the areas where we store the mercury by containing them. So we can see from that picture the woman there with a baby on her back. So the whole family will get affected if mercury use in this process is not emphasized. Time and again we have heard that most of the people consider using personal protective equipment as a means of hazard control. But in the hierarchy of control, we want to use personal protective equipment as the last resort. So in 2016, Zambia ratified the Minamata Convention on Mercury. So this convention is named Minamata because in 1956, in a town called Minamata in Japan, people were experienced a disease which was as a result of exposure to mercury. So that's how this convention came about. And under that convention, Article 7 specifically deals with the use of mercury in ASM gold processing. So the Minamata Convention, just to emphasize, the Minamata Convention is meant to ensure that all parties to that convention have programs in place to ensure that they reduce or where possible eliminate the use of mercury in gold processing or in any other activity that can cause environmental pollution emanating from mercury use. In Zambia, we also produce manganese in Luapula, Central and Central Province. I think even Mchinga, but very few people know that actually the dust that is produced by manganese actually result into ill health effects. So the effects of manganese in acute inhalation, meaning that for a short-term exposure causes an inflammation of the lungs, and the symptoms are hallucination, forgetfulness, and nerve damage. So we can see how the manganese is done there. So those are dust-prone areas. If it's windy, that dust will become airborne and people get affected. So the chronic effect of manganese is a disease which is similar to Parkinson's disease, which is a progressive disorder of the nervous system, which will affect movement, lung embolism, that is the blockage of the pulmonary artery, and also it can cause bronchitis. So it also has effects of muscle tremor, reduced motor skills, difficulty and slowing of walking, slower speech, and sometimes psychiatric disturbances and insomnia. So what can we do to avoid exposure to manganese dust? We can do that by using wet processes. That's doing wet drilling, crushing wet material. Then we should water down stockpiles of material before it's loading. Then we should water down whole roads where dust can become airborne. Then the last resort, as I mentioned earlier, is wearing appropriate protective equipment. the other chemical hazard that maybe affect our people in ASMs is lead. Historically, in Kabwe, the mining of lead and zinc was done and closed some time back, but the dumps that are there, people are still mining from there, who have very little knowledge about the effects of lead. So the exposure to lead can be through inhalation, drinking of contaminated water, and also eating fish that are from water contaminated rivers. So the effects of lead targets also the nervous system. The long-term exposure to lead can cause numbness or weakness in the hands and feet. It can also cause anemia, high blood pressure, and at higher exposure levels, it can also cause brain damage and reduced fertility. So that is a person who is digging from a dump. So these people are not aware of the effects of lead. We know we can see that the government at the moment in Kitwe has given a dump to those who used to be the illegal miners. So it's likely that even in other areas, people may advocate to get licenses for these areas. Although this in Cabo is done illegally, but in the event that they are legalized, people need to be aware of the effects of the mineral that they will be engaged in. So lead also affects children, including developing fetus for the mothers who may be affected by lead. It affects them in the way that it can cause a miscarriage, premature birth, low birth weight, and brain damage and mental retardation. In adults, it also causes numbness or weakness in the hands and feet, anemia, and high blood pressure. So, in controlling the hazards resulting from exposure to lead, we can use a dust suppression system in the areas that are prone to generating dust. It should be discouraged to eat, drink, or eat in an area that has got lead material. And then we can also use personal protective equipment, and it should be kept clean. One has to wash after work and change into clean clothes. Then effluent suspected to be contaminated with lead should be treated before it is just charged into the environment. And we should also take medical examination in order to monitor the levels of exposure in the blood. So the other hazard that may be experienced in artisanal and small-scale mines are biological hazards. So under the hazards, we have HIV and AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. So for HIV, the informal nature of the activity usually is that people move from place to place looking for these minerals, and therefore they are likely to engage or to find new sexual partners and thereby put themselves at risk of contracting the disease. How can we control this? The first step is sensitization to make sure that people understand the effects of HIV and AIDS. Then people should be encouraged to do HIV tests so that if one is infected, can be on antiretroviral therapy, which is the use of antiretroviral drugs, which, although they can't cure AIDS, but can't cure HIV, but prevents it from multiplying and therefore reducing the amount of HIV in the body. The other biological hazard is malaria, which is a very common disease in subtropical and tropical countries. So malaria is transmitted by mosquito, and the symptoms are high fevers, shaking chills, muscle aches, and tiredness. So in these artisanal and small-scale mines, there's a lot of areas that are left with stagnant water, which are breeding places for mosquitoes. So how to control this hazard? We can prevent exposure by using bed nets or mosquito repellents, and also by having early diagnosis so that we can use anti-malarial drugs. So we should ensure that all stagnant water is drained the grass. The other biological hazard in artisanal and small-scale mines is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is spread by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The nature of work in artisanal and small-scale mines is that mostly people work in the same area, sometimes which are crowded. Those who dig pits, those areas are confined, so TB bacteria is likely to be transmitted from one to another. And the fact that people are also subjected to dust, so those who have latent TB easily develop active TB. So latent TB means that somebody may be having the bacteria with them, but if their immune system is strong, the TB symptoms will not manifest. So they will manifest the area for those who may be affected by dust. So we should encourage that people seek medical attention if they feel the symptoms. So according to Occupational Health and Safety Institute, 471 miners were diagnosed with TB between 2011 and 2015. And we are talking about those who are able to go for periodical medical examinations. And we know that most of our people in artisanal and small-scale mines do not go for periodical medical examinations. So it means that there are many more people there who may be affected. So the control measure there that should be taken is to avoid working in crowded and poorly ventilated areas. avoid exposure to dust which may accelerate the rate of developing active TB, and to encourage the people to seek medical attention. The other hazard in artisanal and small-scale mines are physical hazards. The physical hazards that we have include ergonomics, heat and cold stress, vibration, dust, and noise. So in our country, probably what we experience is heat and not so much cold. So the first level of an effect that is related to heat is heat cramps. This is caused by performing hard physical labor in a hot environment. And its symptoms are muscle spasms in the abdomen and calves. These cramps have been attributed to an imbalance in the electrolyte in the body caused by sweating. Then the next level, as you continue sweating, you experience heat exhaustion. This also happens as a result of continuing the strenuous activity in the hot environment, and your body cannot cool adequately. The cooling which is done by sweating, but your body cannot cool at a rate enough to cool yourself. So the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion is profuse sweating, headache, nausea, weakness, thirsty, and giddiness, which is a temporary feeling that your sense of balance is not good and that you may fall down. From this level, then there is a severe level of heat-related stress, which is heat stroke. This occurs when the body system of temperature regulation fails and body temperature rises to critical levels. This is as a result, as you were sweating, you can't sweat no more, and therefore all the heat that the body generates just stays within the body. The signs and symptoms of this is that you get confused, there's irrational behavior, convulsions, hot and dry skin, and abnormally high temperatures, which will later result in loss of consciousness. So heat stroke is a medical emergency. Once these symptoms are seen, you should rush someone to the hospital. So how do we control this hazard? Is the use of a program of acclimatization. Acclimatization is a program whereby somebody who has never worked in a hot environment is subjected gradually to shorter periods of working in this environment and until somebody becomes used to working in that environment. Provision of clean drinking water or other appropriate drinks for rehydration and replacement of electrolytes. We can also reduce the effect by reducing the work rate or the load. If people are given to lift heavy loads, if they are packed in smaller packs, then it's likely that their rate of generating the heat and the rate of dissipating the heat through sweating is reduced. Then the provision of equipment, instead of doing things manually, equipment is used. We can also reduce the effects by having regular breaks during the shift and scheduling of certain activities to times when temperatures are moderate. So, in the event that somebody is already affected, for heat cramps and exhaustion, which are not serious, you can stop work and rest, and then move to a cool place and drink water or any other appropriate cool drink. For heat stroke, that is a medical emergency, one has to seek medical attention. So the other effect is vibration. Vibration has got two categories. There is arm and hand vibration, which affects the hand and the arm. Then there is also the whole body vibration, which results from the use of operating equipment such as excavators and articulated dump trucks. So when you are using an excavator or a dump truck, you develop whole body vibration. By using hand tools, you develop arm and hand vibration syndrome. So how do we control the effects? We give employees sufficient information so that they use equipment correctly. You limit the duration of exposure to vibration. We repair the equipment so that we reduce the vibration. The other health hazard is dust. I think this was ably handled by my colleague yesterday, just to emphasize on the control measures that the most common disease result from exposure to dust in Zambia is silicosis. And according to Occupational Health and Safety Institute, from 2011 to 2015, 128 miners were found to have developed silicosis. So, what we should do is, like all the other dusts that I've explained, we reduce exposure by doing what I explained earlier. The other hazard is manual handling. In artisanal and small-scale mines, most of the things that, most of the operations are done manually. So we expect that people develop musculoskeletal disorders. So because of the confined space where they work, people develop back injury and muscular strains, including cuts, bruises, and abrasions. So this is an example of an artisanal mine in Mansa. So the control measure is that we have to reduce the repetitive actions when we are performing these tasks. The other should be the reduce of the weight or size of the load that one is handling. Then the environment, we can improve the space and provide appropriate protection equipment. The other is noise, which has physiological effects, that is the hearing loss, and also psychological effects, which causes annoyance and irritability, which results in distraction and reduced performance, and consequently can result into an accident. So in reducing the exposure to noise, we can reduce the exposure time and isolate people to work away from noise areas or noise sources. And the last resort of providing personal protective equipment. So in the safety hazards, the common, I may skip some of these. Maybe the most important that we can talk about is the confined space and the collapse of excavations. We can see how people do their mining. That man is digging. The material that is excavated from there is kept just near the mouth of the excavation, which is likely to collapse. So there are dangers in such operations. You find that there will be accumulation of gases that may poison someone, and the collapse of the excavations themselves. We can see there that this is a high wall which can collapse. So the control measures should be that we should slope or batter our open excavations, then underground excavation can be supported. So that is an example of how an underground excavation is supported using timber. Thank you for your attention.
My name is Mr.Ngwata. I'm Principal Inspector of Zambia. I'm based in on the Commonwealth. My presentation is on what Zambia can do to support the ASM sector. I will start with what may probably be a bore, in the sense that we've heard so much about artisanal mining, but I'll still go through that because that's what I prepared. The term artisanal and small-scale mining refers to mining practiced by individuals, groups, or communities, often informally. We heard a number of times about some of the differing interpretation of what are ASMs. These are broadly divided into three subcategories. That's what we mean. The first level being the artisanal mining category. Those who like reading. I've deliberately made them very small so that you can concentrate on my talking. The first level is the artisanal mining category, which encompasses the smallest and simplest operations. This subsector is characterized by the widespread use of simple tools and the absence of a formal business enterprise. We heard from the chief geologist from Malawi, who emphasized on the characterization of their small-scale miners or artisanal miners based on the tools that they use. Unfortunately, the majority of illegal miners are involved in both gemstone and gold mining. And then they are very mobile and will migrate quickly to a reported new find, creating a legacy of environmental damage. Here, what happens is that after they fill them, they cannot get to the core or to the drain, whatever mineral they're following. And then they're told, no, there's some resource elsewhere. They'll just simply abandon the place and go else, leaving a legacy of holes, craters all over in the wherever they mine. In the event where the mine may be in what we call game management areas. You have dangers to wild animals and the like. The gullies filling with water being also a danger to human beings. And some of our mosquito-prone areas being breeding grounds for mosquitoes. And then also within the Zambian sector, a new form of artisanal mining has emerged, involving quarrying of stone aggregates, both legally and illegally, flat stones, gravel, and building sand used in home construction. That's for the first category. The second category is the traditional ASM. This prospect is often registered and rarely licensed due to financial inability to pay the statutory annual mining licenses fees, as we had earlier. And in this case, we have a mix of mining operations which can be described as being non-mechanized or semi-mechanized. They'll come with some equipment here and there. And the final category, which is the advanced small-scale mining, is a legally constituted enterprise registered, highly mechanized, and features technical and managerial skills. Problems associated with artisanal mining. We've had so many problems, which basically I'll probably repeat. We may have one or two new ones that is on Zambian specific, but basically whatever was presented. Mostly are illegal and unstructured activities occurring in impoverished, remote areas scattered all over the country. My Malawian colleague gave us the area of Malawi, which is about 1,000 blah blah square kilometers. The area of Zambia is about 7.5 times as much, 7,050,000 square kilometers. Now, when I say the pressure that they put on the regulatory authorities that the country is so big, and most of these mining activities happen in remote areas scattered around the country. And then they generate a lot of pollution and land degradation, leaving most of the land derelict, meaning it cannot be used for the original purposes for which normally we use land for. As individual SMS undertakings on their own may not pose serious problems, usually they're small ones and stuff, but then cumulatively they can be significant, or cumulatively are significant. And then they are usually prone to mine-related accidents. We've just seen a picture of somebody digging there who may not know that actually. Maybe from one moment he's in mine, and the next moment he has buried himself. Grave digger, so to say. Related to such as pit collapses, stone falls, plus injuries, among others. And then also, another thing, this is where a lot of illegal trade occurs, cartel activities and violence unabated. We were told in one of the neighboring countries, there's two tribal groups two groups from two different countries in a foreign country, creating cartels and fighting against each other. And they are mostly unprotected and also vulnerable to those in authority due to their illegal status. And maybe we should say that, I'm not saying that's what our authorities do, but in some cases it happens. They go over there and they find these guys have done their, sorry for promoting my user guys, have done their mining and saying that you don't have the licenses, then we're going to compensate this. And then we're going to confiscate. And what do? They drive off and take the stuff elsewhere. They don't take it to the government or something. And then the miners cannot have recourse anywhere. And then generally they are marginalized during policy considerations. As we have heard, because they are illegal, we cannot regulate the illegalities. And then local communities and government structures do not benefit from their proceeds. There may be a mine just behind your village, but the miner, when they get their stuff, they sell and they don't care about the legal structures, the communities, governance structures within there. And then they are generally labor intensive, but then mostly their tools and processes are rudimentary. burning and gold amalgamation. And then so it's also not uncommon to abandon sites once the minerals are exhausted, or it becomes difficult to access the minerals, thereby creating hazards to both wildlife. On the other hand, their level of technical competence and expertise varies quite widely, from rudimentary to advanced. We may have heard earlier on where we say the lack of capacity in this or that area, but sometimes you have some retired geologists who want to go and do mining out there. You cannot consider them as incompetent. And then they may not have both financial and technical expertise to respond to legislative requirements, including all aspects related to environmental risks. And then from the Zambian perspective, you heard about the EPF, the Environmental Fund, Protection Fund for use as mitigation once the owners of the mine have gone. Mostly ASMs do not contribute. I'm saying mostly, a few do. And then also the issue of use of highly toxic substances such as gold panning that we've heard before. Now, within the Zambian legislation, mining companies, including ASMs, are required by the Zambia Environment Agency to conduct an environmental impact assessment and submit an environmental management plan to ZEMA for approval or consideration. Now, how does that opportunity relate to the artisanal mining? The existing legal framework provides an opportunity for incorporating ASM activities into impact mitigation. Using the existing environmental impact process, we can generate wider consultation among stakeholders as well as formally recognize the ASM in their entirety as a non-impact to be planned for a national plan. May I wish to comment that because of the tag that we put on these illegals and the ASM, they are illegal, the government cannot plan for illegality. Although you've heard a few of the comments within here where the Zambian government, because of certain socio-economic challenges, have bent backwards to allow an entity which is not yet legally recognized, but well known in the Zambian sector, to have access to some minerals. So by way of, as a way, we generate wider consultation among various stakeholders that are involved in the mining sector so that we find a way of integrating them into the legal system. So here it goes further as to isolate specific problem areas that may need attention. In terms, it's a recognized fact that the sector requires a lot of capacitation in various aspects across, capacity building across. So recognizing the fact that the sector is wide, as it extends into non-traditional mining areas, it's important that the sector should be treated in a differentiated manner, as there is no one-fits-all solution. You may wish to agree with me on that. The solution that registered miners, as well as my grandfather in the village, the whatever help that they require at different varying levels. To this effect, all planned activities aimed at capacity building should reflect that aspect. For instance, we may need training for healthy, safety, and environment. If you looked at the picture where there's a family, a baby on the back, and the father busy digging without wearing anything, but exposed to toxic fumes of mercury, there immediately you can pick out that there's the issue of not knowing that the mercury is extremely toxic. There's the issue of not knowing that we're exposing the whole family. There's the issue of not knowing that we're exposing a generation. There's a child behind that that's going to be another generation at the top. And beyond the immediate health effects, if you heard what Mr. Mwenya was talking about, some of the cognitive, especially for the children, In short, when they use the word cognitive, basically the children will remain down, they will not be able to learn, and they will not be able to learn life support systems and structures. So you are creating more problems than you are trying to solve. The kind of training that the sector requires should be commodity specific. You cannot train a gold miner emphasize the same thing that you want to train a gemstone miner or a copper miner or quarry person. They are all mining, but they have different needs. And that kind of training should specify that. This one is at the core of the problem that which we have recognized. The need to facilitate the legalization of the illegal ASMs. And also the need to facilitate compliance among those that are registered legally. Because there is the issue of unregistered and non-compliant, as well as registered but non-compliant to the laws. Some of the problems in the sector relate to issues of legality due to various reasons, which are, but not limited to the following. Issues of finances, general ignorance. A lot of people feel offended when you use the word ignorance, but basically, we're all ignorant in one way or another because we're not all experts in everything, right? Poverty, social-cultural beliefs, illiteracy, among others. The government has also recognized the aspects of non-traditional ASMIs. These are ASMIs that originally were not grouped on that. This refers to, for instance, on the Zambian scene, we have an unfortunate issue when you walk on the streets, you find women crushing stone aggregates with children on their backs and exposed to a lot of dust, exposing the mother herself, exposing the child, and then having issues of silicosis later on, as it were. And everybody keeps a blind eye. And then we have issue of child labor. As I said, this group is very vulnerable and has different needs compared with other ASMs. Respiratory occupational diseases are very common in this group. One of the problems I had during the presentation from Angola to South Africa, you hear aspects of government taking a lot of efforts to try and empower their vulnerable societies. But then here's, I'll call him Cliff. He gets money from the government, then he says, I've been trying to mine because I wanted money. And here it is at the building, someone that I will get after starting mine. So why should I break my back? What does it do? He buys cars, buys stuff, forgets about the money, and then the government realizes that the agenda, their aim hasn't been, their objective hasn't been met. They were good intention. But then it's very difficult to see the person in the fire and say, no, we want him on. And then the government can guess it's not the type of person to give him. That's a terrible cultural problem existing within the region, unfortunately. And then some of the problems associated with that are basically the issues of management of scarce resources. And then would think pooling resources and encouraging joint management initiative to a large extent assist in improving the sector. Having an organized managing system for the big where to pool some. Others have simplified by saying having cooperatives, but they can be slightly smaller than cooperatives with some rules and regulations of do's and don'ts. And of course, something should come earlier, the issue of situation-specific assessment. Generally, like I've heard in some of the presentation earlier, is that government sits down in an office. They have a meeting like this. It's planned for artisanal small-scale miners. The miners, they're in the bush also doing their own thing. Then these government workers, they know what they want. They want to help, generally help the other people, but they're not asking the other people what they want. So we need a situation-specific assessment of various stages or various levels of artisanal as well as small-scale mining needs and requirements, so that the sector can be planned for collected together with them. In conclusion, I would say ZEMA using the EI platform will facilitate the area, and this will make it easier for ASMs to be planned for and provided for as an extension of the EI activity. The need for safety and environmental consideration should be prioritized, and the need for a legalization process for making it easier for the sector to legalize is of utmost importance. Thank you.
I'm coming from the Zambia Development Agency. This is an agency under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. It deals with investment and trade as well as enterprise development. The space of enterprise development looks at micro, small and medium enterprises across sectors. And one of the sectors that has been prioritized by the government as one which can create jobs is the sector of mining. And we are dealing with a good number of small-scale miners. I think all of them who are here, who are in the small-scale mining, they know our faces, they know our steps, they understand the language. So I stand here to just do a presentation on the planning process. I know that the whole workshop has been characterized by highly technical presentation because of the field. The field of mining, I think, is highly technical. And from the ZDA point of view and also from the business point of view, we are slowly realizing that actually, in mining, there's no small-scale mining in terms of investment. There's no small-scale mining. Because if you have to be profitable, the same level where the bigger company will find the deposits is the same level where the small-scale miner have to get it. So what really talks about small-scale is maybe the rudimentary way or the tools that the small-scale miners use. But if really they are to go into real mining and profitable, then there's small-scale investment. Investment is the same. So we need to bear that in mind. Now I want to talk about planning a business in the area of this small-scale space. I may be quick to mention that actually we have been mingling with these small-scale miners, and we have been helping them here and there through our various BDS services, business development services. And as it has been echoed time and again, that most of these people are actually not registered. They are not formalized. But all the same, would want to talk about the process. Even for those who are formalized, in many instances, they don't even have documentation. When you ask them to say, what are your profitable levels, what is your level of investment, most of them they don't have. If you say, please come, let's see how formalized you are, they will bring you the certificates from geological, is it cadastral or something? Those are the documents they will give to you most of the times. If you tell them that, but you are in this for a business and also for a profit, how are you realizing this? Most of our SMEs or ASME, they don't have documentation, which shows that this area of planning is really an area of need in this space of artisanal and small-scale miners. So I have learned that to put up a presentation. In this presentation, I think I just tackled 3 aspects. I'll talk briefly about the business environment, where everyone else exists, every business in an environment. Then I also talk about the simple process of planning that an ASM can employ. Very simple. Then I also talk about the document that culminates in that process. So, the business environment. It is important to realize that as small-scale miners or artisanal miners, we are not going to exist in an environment where we shall be alone, separated, and given our own environment or given our own incentives. All the time, every business, whether small or big, will exist in an environment. And in that environment, a business has to survive. Sometimes people take a very narrow focus of their business, thinking if I just do 1 or 2 things, then my business will be on track. Alas, that's not the language of business. So when establishing an enterprise, it is important that our small-scale and artisanal miners note that the enterprise will not exist in isolation. It will not exist in isolation. Why am I talking about this? Because many times you will call them to say, there's this other aspect to your business. They'll say, me, I'm busy. I'm doing other things. I'm in the mine. I'm doing everything else. It's too loud? Okay. Sorry. So, thank you for that. My voice is hoarse, so I think it is also here. You will not hear anything. You can hear twice. Just like this? Okay. All right. I'm so sorry, my voice is hoarse. So when establishing an enterprise, it is important for the ASM to note that the enterprise will not operate in isolation, but it will depend on other players in the environment. And every enterprise, whether small, medium, or large enterprise, operate in this environment. Some of the things that you find in the environment are the stakeholders that will have an impact upon your business are listed below, but this is not an exhaustive list. Of course, you need a customer to survive as a business. Many SMEs in this area, I'm calling them SMEs because that's the language I know, but they are still ASMEs, that is artisanal and small-scale miners. They don't even have an idea who is going to buy their products. I've seen a lot of pictures of people breaking their backs, digging and wanting to get that jewel or that precious stone. At the end of the day, they don't even know who is going to buy that particular precious stone, let alone the value. They may not even know the value. But for a business to survive, you need a customer and you need to know the value of what you're giving to your customer if the business has to be that which will be acclaimed to be a profitable one. Also, there are these financial institutions. You need people to finance you. Most of AMSs, they are doing what they are doing because they don't have money to even buy the equipment. I already stated that in terms of investment, there's no small-scale mining. You need the proper machinery for you to excavate and also get that stone or whatever mineral that you are aiming at. So you need people who can be financiers in this environment. You cannot say, I am a miner and I don't need any financing. Even if it is not an institution, at least even from your family you may need one. Then you need your family to support you. I mean, you can't go to the mine if you don't have a family and then your children are going to school, who's going to take care? Everyone needs support from the family, so they also need family support. But you find that people have excluded their family members and they are doing it on their own. I think I want to give an example of the young lady from the Copper Belt. They are doing that business as a family and it is successful because the mother is involved and the other people within the family are involved for support. And if there's any problem, somebody will be able to attend to the business and at the same time to attend to family. So also now the bigger part, the government. Many of our ASMEs, they are ever illegal because they feel the government is giving them a raw deal, especially when it comes to taxes. But at the end of the day, still they go to the government. I even heard my sister lamenting and telling the government to say you should do like Botswana has done. You see, this is a major player in this particular field of business. The government does everything. I think 60 or 70% of the people who have done presentations here, they are from the government institutions. The government holds the regulations, the government holds the rules. At the same time, the government can be the customer. The government can be the supplier of certain information and certain things that a business requires. So also there is competition. We should not pay a blind ear to competition, because it is this competition that will allow us to operate at a certain level. What am I doing that is letting me down, or what is it that my other person or my competitor is doing that is making them an advantage over me? So we need to know all these things around the business environment. Also employees, this is a big part also, because most of the times I've gone around doing capacity building about businesses in these small scale miners. And when we talk about the issue of employees, it's a very thorny issue, because some people, they don't even pay their employees. They'll just tell them, you work, when we find the stones, we sell, that's when we'll give you. Others exchange labor with the stone. That is a very rudimentary way of doing it, because you're giving somebody the same jewel that you should know the value, and it should give you a profit. So this one is also an issue that we need to know if we have to run profitable businesses in this area of small scale mining. Suppliers, usually our small scale miners, they hardly have any relationship with suppliers of anything. Even the pigs that they use, they don't even have who makes them, they just buy and go. It's very important, if the business has to survive, that you need to have certain people who you can call upon at short notice. You have to relate to have some linkages to these suppliers of either machinery, chemicals that you need to use, so that the process of mining is continuous. I am fully aware that in Zambia, the small scale miners, I think there were about 6 months or so of mining. Then when the rain season starts, most of them, they stop mining. So what are you going to do during that period when it is a recess? All those things that you have done, now that's the time to look for customers. That's the time to look for suppliers to help you polish all those stones, all the equipment that you need, all the things that you may need to perfect that product that you picked. So this is the environment. The list is endless, especially in the sector of mining. But I picked these few ones to just let you know that really you cannot do business just as a person or as a small scale miner or artisanal miner and hope that you will manage. We have heard many cases on the copper belt. People have been given dump sites, but do they have a plan how they are going to make those dump sites profitable? Do they have a plan how that business will be a going concern? So this area of planning is very, very important, and we need to know, where do I run to if I want to do certain things so that my business goes ahead? So the next segment that I'm looking at is planning. This is an area in the small-scale mining space. As I've already indicated, very few people have got business plans or any document that shows where they are going, they are coming from. The nearest I can quote for small-scale miners in Zambia is a profile. They'll tell you, oh, this is my profile. Well, a profile is a good thing. It shows that this is where you're coming from, this is where you're found, but it doesn't show anything nearer to profitability or competitiveness of the business. It doesn't. So we need that as we interact with our small-scale artisanal and miners, that they may need to have certain skills in terms of planning. Yes, most of them maybe they are even retired or they went to school, they have technical skills within the mining space. They may have the technical skills, but to turn that technical skill to now bring a full-fledged business that can be looked at and said this is a profitable business that is contributing positively to the economy of the country, that is a story for another day. The missing link is this issue of the skill. How do we do it? So, in the area of small-scale mining, I would say that we are still a long way, and we need really to work together in this area with our small-scale mining to equip them with planning tools so that the businesses, they have a guide and they have got a direction where they are going. So the process of implementing business activities and coordinating internal as well as external stakeholders can be referred to as management. In a simpler term, management simply means you are in charge. You are the one who's drawing up and implementing programs that achieve success continuously for your business. So every ASM doing business has certain functions which they should perform in an orderly and correct order for business to run smoothly and profitably. Many a times when we say small-scale miners, we only know that they have got tools, picks and everything which they go to dig. When we talk about documentation, when we talk about location, it's very difficult to really know where they are. And hence that makes it difficult for any institution to give them any advice on business, because you really don't know where to find them. Because even when you go to their mines, it is a nightmare to put them together. So we really need a way that we can be able to be linked. And the only way is this, where we interact and share ideas about how our businesses can move forward. So you don't know it. As a small-scale artisanal, the functions are still there, and you need to perform them. So generally, I took these functions, which are management functions. Of course, I'll be able to explain a little bit more. You have to plan, and the planning, I can even compare it to the process of building a home. It is the foundation where everything else rests. If you can't plan all those things down there, you can't do them. It's very difficult because there's no structured way. Where the foundation is, there's nowhere where you can anchor in order to do all those things. So I want to zero in on planning because that's the major gist for this presentation. So planning forms the most important function that an artisanal or small-scale miner should pay attention to. Why? This is not to say definitely that other functions are not important. Any other function is important, but there should be an anchor. And an anchor is the organized way of how you have structured your business. And in an organized way of structuring your business can only come if you have done a bit of planning for your business. So that these other functions, which we are talking about, like controlling, seeing other people, HR, and everything else, they will fall on what you have already mapped out as an organized plan for your business. So whether you are alone or you are 2 or 3, as long as you are the one running the mine, this path of planning becomes very, very important for your success. Success sometimes eludes us because we may know what to do, but it is not in an organized way and there's nothing to refer to. So, unlike big companies, unlike small companies, large companies, that's why they attach so much importance to planning. So much that they even get specialized people to be involved in the process of planning. If you would get a mine like ASM or Mwenya, if you look at their documentation, it's bulky, and also there are so many people who did it because they have got the financing. They have the financing to contract. People can do the excavation and plan also operations, human resource, etc. But for our small-scale miners, enterprises, the management In most cases, it is in the hands of the owner to perform all the key functions, the planning, the directing, the coaching, supplying, looking for customers, digging in the hole. It is all done by one person. So if you are the one who has to be in all those areas, then you have no choice but to put up a form of a plan, how you are going to do it. So planning becomes very, very critical for a small and artisanal miner. Because, I mean, how are you going to do it? Because sometimes you may even forget certain processes. And in business, whether you know or you don't know, every process will affect you. If you don't know costing, I mean, the business will say no because it doesn't know. You will make losses. If you don't know where to find customers, the business will not know that you don't know. You will not sell. If you don't know where to get certain chemicals or supplies, no one will say no, it doesn't know, so he has to make a profit. You will definitely not produce a good product. So it makes planning very, very important for a small scale miner. So then, one of the things or some of the points that are important for our artisanal miners to take note that planning helps us actually to clear the path so that we see where we are coming from and where we are going. Along the route, we can even see who we need to contract. Along the route of our conducting our business, we'll be able to know, okay, I will need a geologist to come and help me. There, I will need somebody to do this. So it is a very important thing in our business that we do a plan of where we are coming from and also where we want to go and see who along the way should we talk to. It also helps us to know every day, in every meeting you go to, SMEs will be talking about the scarce resources, they'll be talking about the monies. So if you've got a little bit of money and you don't have a plan how to apply it, you will waste it. But if you have a plan, at least it will help you to effectively allocate those resources. Also that, you know, there are those other things that you may not see if you haven't written them down. But if you have written them down, you'll be able to see, oh, in case the policy changes, this is what we are doing. What about if the government says this? What can we do? So if you have a plan, you'll be able to come up with even a contingency plan to just say, okay, in case something happened, we have planned like this, this is what we are going to do. So that you are not caught unaware. Most businesses have folded because the Chinese have come. Not only in mining, you know, people are just now giving up their mines because they say, there's nothing I'll do. I heard somebody say for 2 years, I think it was the minister, you have the mining license, 3 years you are still waiting for resources. 4 years, you are 25 years, you are still waiting. When are you going to do business? So in the end, you end up just relinquishing that and giving it, and you lose even the more. So it's very important that when you do your plan, you already know and look at various aspects and you are able to put up another contingency plan. Also, you will be able to outline to say, who is my neighbor? Who can I run to in the environment? As I've already indicated, there are many players in the environment that makes your business successful for, depending on how you engage them. So a simple method for an artisanal and small-scale miner, how do I plan, you may ask. Of course, planning can be complicated depending on the level of the project. Planning can also be easy depending on the level of project and also what you know. So I put up this small methodology of how a small-scale artisanal miner can go about gathering information for their business. It's very, very simple, but even large companies, when you look critically at what they have done, this is still the same method that they follow. So you have to ask yourself, we call it the 5 Ws and 1H, the what list, what you require, and your activities. Is it gemstone mining? What am I going to be mining in this area? Is it gold? Is it silver? Is it sandy? Or is it industrial mining that I want to do? So you need to specify. And once you specify, it gives you a leeway to have a clear roadmap to say, I am not going to look at these other things. I am just aiming at amethyst or whatever it is that I have found in the deposits that I have. we're assuming that you already have the licensing and you know where you want to go and when you have the location. So, in what time space will I do these things? You ask. That is the way. Where is the strategic location for my activities? If I am in Mapatisia, how will I do it? Who can I collaborate with so that I maximize all the mining activities that I have? Why am I going into gemstones and I'm not going into another? Who will help me in this? Your division of labor and all other people experienced. And how will I finance this particular business that I'm going into? So those are the simple questions that you ask. Of course, I don't know how much time I have. Oh, then I will have to skip certain things. I wanted to elaborate on the what in the planning, but fortunately in the booklet, all these things are explained. So if you have the booklet, you can take time and just look at what questions do I ask myself if I'm talking about the what. So all those are the questions that you go about. You talk about the idea, you talk about the critical requirement quantities, the costs of your business, the major problems that are associated there, the capabilities that you have, and also any other information that you may gather. When you go to the why in the business, you ask yourself, why did you choose? The feasibility and viability of that project, the profitability, is it a going concern? Can it go on for years and continue giving me what I require? Do I have the right attitude, capacity, and resources? So when you go into the where, this is where you talk about the location, the customers, are they available? How is the competition, the support structures, the network that I need to smoothly run my business? Where are the suppliers of the things that I'll need? Is my place secure? Or is the area economically viable? And all those questions you ask yourself when you're dealing with the who. The where. The who is simply how many jobs, how many people do I need to employ in this my venture? How many people am I supposed to employ? The type of skills, qualification, where can I find them, and the readily available skills in that area. So when you have done all these things all culminate into one document. And that document, that's what we are calling the business plan. Since I don't have a lot of time, let me rush to the business plan. Because this is the consideration, this is the process, but what you come up with is a business plan. Of course, I talked about the other management factors apart from just the planning, but then I am quickly rushing to the business plan. Yes. So all these aspects that we have talked about, the business environment, the process of planning, all other things, they culminate into one document. And this document, that's where you summarize everything, and it is called a business plan. A business plan by nature is a document which clearly outlines the aspiration, visions, and missions of a given business enterprise, whether new or existing. And I came up with some components of the business plan. When you're coming up with a business plan, okay, so this is a concise table of contents that you can follow when you are writing a business plan. You have a cover page, you have a summary, description, vision and mission, the marketing plan, production plan, organization and management plan, the financial plan, and also you put some appendices. Actually, the executive summary is the one which shows all the results, everything that you have done when you are writing this business plan. But it is written right at the end when you have done everything. Though it appears at the first page, you have to do it at the end. So when you're talking about the business description of a business plan, you are simply talking about you list, you tell whoever and write down your business name, the directors, the address, the contact phone, the business products, bankers, business documents or for registration, cadastral, whatever you have, you list that you have them. If you have lawyers and you have business advisors, it just looks organized that everyone should know, or whoever is looking at your business to see that this is how you are conducting your business. Also, you have to list and say your vision. A vision is simply a clear and specific long-run goal of a business, and the mission is simply the central objective of the business. The central objective of the business, which declares product differentiating yourself from other businesses. This is where you tell us that me, I'm a sales or whatever it is. When you're dealing with the production plan of the business plan, what are you talking about? Actually, you talk about the business process. You have to tell us the fixed assets to be used in your production, repairs and spares where they are available for your machinery, source of your machinery, and capital utilization of your machinery, because this will determine how much material you generate and how much sales you are going to be expecting. So then in the production, you also talk about the location of your enterprise, where you'll be doing this, the raw materials that you require and stock. Also the direct and the indirect labor in that area. And then when you go to the market plan segment, you talk about your company product. Oh, sorry. Now I spit. Sorry. The company products, the quality, costing, prices, location, business, geographical coverage and targets, estimated volumes that you'll be generating from your mine, estimated market share, and company strategy, marketing, how you are going to be marketing. 2 minutes? Okay, thanks. I'll manage. So when you talk about the organization and management plan, those are the things that you look at. The charts, operations, the directors, management staff, supporting staff, and business experience, and as well as their qualification, including yourself. Your qualification you should be able to tell us. You should also be able to state the operating activities, and also those activities that you need to do before, and also the expenses. In the financial plan, you talk about the total project cost, means of financing, the proposed collateral if you're getting a loan, analysis of your financial projection, profitability, liquid, and all those issues that come with financial planning. I just want to mention that in this process of gathering information and putting it, we need to understand that there are certain things that we need to do. We need to match. I think most of the SMEs, you find that their cash flows are actually negative. So we need to continuously.
Theresah, you have plenty of time. It's me. I've been looking wrongly at the watch. Sorry. Just go on. It's me.
Okay. That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
As when you look at most SMEs or these same miners they just plan wholesale. You need to plan, especially when it comes to financing. You need to plan every stage and you match it to say where are the finances coming from. So that stage by stage you are able to segment how your financing will be coming in. But most of the times you just say, oh, we need a pig, you just go and buy. Oh, we need this chemical, you just go and buy. In the end, you find that you can't trace properly your expenditures, you can't trace properly everything that you are doing. And in the end, you'll be working very hard, but meanwhile, you are just getting a loss. You are not working to make a profit. And you see, this business of mining is very, very taxing. I don't think I should go into it with a very vague idea, and then I don't even know how much money I'll be coming out with. I've seen pictures of women, men risking their lives, their health. So it's very important that we do a good plan as far as financing is concerned. The main documents that you'll be able to look at, even before you even start your business, let this document speak about your business. Like the cash flows, how much money will be coming in and how is it going to be flowing out. The income statement to show you, are you going to make losses? At what point are you going to have break even. Break even is the point where you are no longer making losses or you are no longer making profit. Now you are just setting a pace to start making a profit. We need to know all these things. And the balance sheet need to tell you the list of assets that you have. Are you negative in terms of Congole or liabilities, or you are positive in that you have got so much assets that you can fall back on as you are doing your business? So then, in our process at SAD, how we advise SMEs or ASMEs in their process of doing a business plan, we actually encourage them to first do the summary of assumptions. Because when you are writing, certain things you may know, you may not understand, but if you put up assumptions for yourself, then it will be easy to even ask any other person to ask you, to help you to come up with a document. So what are these assumptions that you need to put in advance? These assumptions are the first. I told you that the executive summary is the last, but the assumptions are the first before you even do any other documentation in your business. You have to put up an operating program. When are we going to be operating? Every day from what time to what time? Every year from which month to which month? So that when you are contracting workers, you'll be able to know that this month I need so many workers, and it will help you to cut down on expenses and also to give a flow in your operations. You need to talk about your company products. If you'll be doing gemstones 3-4 times, you need to say that this is what I want to do according to the geological maps or whatever surveys that we've done. This is what I'll be doing. You also need to determine the operating output, how much is expected. And this, I'm sure you cannot do on your own. You need the geologists or these other people in the mining sector who are specialized in different. So this is the time to start contracting them before you even put down everything. You need to have the information. So the assumptions will help you to gather direct labor costs and all those things. How much will it cost if there are people who are really going to be helping me directly mining and those who will be supporting? So then you also need to talk about the indirect labor, where if you yourself you are just a CEO, then you fall in the indirect labor and other people will be helping you to support those who are directly doing it. What is the cost of overheads? Overheads are things that you continuously incur, whether the business is running or not running. For instance, if you are running an office, power will always run. Whether you are making a profit or you're not making a profit, you need to settle those bills. Water is one of them also. So you need to determine how much of this do I need in this operation. And then again, the list of assumptions that you need to make. Capital assets. What do I really require? Do I have a pick and shovel, or I'm going to get some machines from somewhere, from China or elsewhere where I can get it? The list and prices of revenues that you are expecting. So you will see that some of these things will be done before you even start putting the narration down. If you are getting a loan, how are you going to repay it? What is the total project cost? How are you going to finance your businesses? There were some places where I talked about financing, but because I'm rushing, I think you still get them from the handbook. So this list of assumptions, they are the first things you advise any SME to start with. Start listing the things, how you are going to do your process, your production, so that when, even if they can't write a business plan, they go to somebody who have a thought through process with that business plan. Of course, people have argued that no, having a business plan doesn't mean the business will be successful. Yes, it depends, because really success of the business doesn't just depend on what you have written, but it depends on how passionate and what you put in as the owner of the business. But surely, if you compare two people, one who has a business plan and they are able to follow, and one who doesn't have, I think the one who has a business plan stands a better chance to attract even partners. A business plan stands a better chance to attract financing, unlike a person who is just not doing anything. So today you can choose for yourself as a small-scale miner or artisanal which direction you want to go. Us, we give business development services that puts together everything that you are doing. It is like a motor that holds the house together. There are these blocks, you have the technical skills, there are these other things that you have, there are these other people you have, but these skills, if you have them, they are the ones that will hold everything together, so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to say, yes, my business is making progress, or it is not making progress. So, of course, you have to have production and operating costing schedules, projected cash flows, and also profit and loss statements. Since I cruised through, I think I end here. And I don't know whether I have questions.
My name is on the board. I work for UNDP. For many Zambian participants, we could have met before in different forums. My task this afternoon is going to be simple because I will be addressing a subject that most of you have encountered in many situations. I never like afternoon sessions. They are sometimes referred to graveyard sessions. So I'll try as much as possible to keep you awake. You should also try to keep me awake because I can also sleep. So this afternoon, I'll basically be looking at issues of community voices in mineral resource governance, and with a specific reference to artisanal and small-scale mining. On the screen are some of the issues that I'll cover. I have approximately 14 slides. I hope to spend about 15 to 20 minutes and then leave another 10 minutes to have a conversation. However, you are free to stop me in case there are issues that you want to clarify. How many of you have seen this slide before? How many of you have seen this slide before? Don't be shy. I know that you have seen it all. During the official opening of this meeting, in one of the speeches that was delivered, there was a huge reference to the Sustainable Development Goals. And I want to begin from there, because this is the current development paradigm which many of us, not only us in the UN system, but many of you are contributing to. It's common knowledge we have 17 goals. Now, the reason why I'm showing this, if you look at it, you'll see yourself near in all the goals. Beginning from goal number 1 on no poverty up to the last one on partnership. If you are involved in either actual mining or policy type of work, you'll see that you are making a contribution to the SDGs. Now, as we go further, you'll see how and why I thought it was important for us to begin the session from this angle. Because in themselves, the goals are emphasizing the need for us to participate. Participation at all levels. Whether you sit in Plot 1 or whether you are a community member. To what extent are you involved in your own work? To what extent are you consulted? To what extent do you contribute in shaping the development agenda? And hence, as I said, my topic is basically talking about community voices. So as I said, in that space that we have, we must, as much as possible, create space for our community members to participate. I have circled 2 keywords in the title, or 3 keywords. One is transformation. Transformation in this regard is basically, as I say, working with, not for the community that we are supporting or serving. It means it's not only mine, but it's also for the communities that where we operate or where we mine from. And then sustainable development is something that we should all embrace, because It's a process that takes into account the needs of the present generation, but not compromising that of the future generation. That is the basic definition of sustainable development. Again, just a reminder, again in line with the subject that I'm presenting, we have 5 transformative areas under the SDGs. And the first one is leave no one behind. And this again resonates to the presentation that I'm making on the topic of my discussion, which is community voices. To what extent are we not leaving community members where we're mining from? Community members where we're investing? We need to ensure that we leave no one behind. Sustainable development should be at the core of our programming and should take into account social, economic, and environmental dimensions of our investment. We have what we call the 5 Ps, again in the SDGs, and I'll be very quick in this one. Due to some of the challenges that the SDGs are trying to address, be it environmental degradation, displacement of communities, economic and social inequalities, and health challenges. We have had, I have been to quite a number of places where ASM mining is happening. I think for those who have attended some of the presentations that I've given, I always like to give an example of a place which is not too far away from here, which we call Chuula, where development minerals are being mined for construction of many buildings in Lusaka. And when you go there, because of unsustainable mining practices by ASM, you'll find that they are just leaving holes unattended, they are just leaving, cutting down trees, and that kind of thing. So to a larger extent, some of the challenges that we are trying to address in the SDGs are caused by the mining or the work of mining companies at that level. So again, as I said, these are some of the global challenges of our time. These are some of the biggest challenges of our time. We talk about climate change. In many times, I think many countries that are represented here could have already seen the face of climate change. You might be interested to learn that some of these climate change issues are coming from the activities of artisanal and small-scale mining, including the operations of big mines that I think we see. Zambia is one such example that has huge investment in mining. Just one slide again because the African mining vision is also challenging us to ensure that we're inclusive in our approach. We work with the communities that where we are mining from or where we're investing. This is a continental framework that was adopted in 2009, and it seeks to create a transparent, equitable, and optimal exploitation of mineral resources to underpin broad-based sustainable growth and socio-economic development, and also to address quite a number of persistent social, gender, and income inequalities that I think we see in many parts of Africa, including Southern Africa, where many of us come from. We have not seen a very big number of African countries ratifying the African mining vision, despite the good message that it preaches. I don't know, maybe it's lack of political will, maybe we are not doing enough as an international development agency, maybe the civil society organizations are not doing well, maybe we do not have a very good legal framework to force us to do that. So I would urge you to Google that and take a look at it. Create a peaceful and effective and open accountable institutions where we are operating. And then we are talking about global partnerships. And as I indicated earlier on, it's partnerships at all levels. If you are investing in a village, do you create a partnership with the people that you're working with? So at all levels, we must endeavor to create partnerships. We have what we call the 5 Ps, again in the SDGs, and I'll be very quick in this one. The people, meaning that the investment that we are plowing, the investment that we are forging must be people-centered. The investment that we are putting across must also take into account the needs of the planet. The investment that we are putting, of course, you are looking for prosperity, not only for yourself, but for the people that or where you're investing. And of course, I've already spoken to the need for us to create a peaceful investment and also partnerships. So in the SDG language, those are what we term as the 5 Ps. And those, if you put them together, is what is going to lead you to what we term as sustainable development. Now, getting down to artisanal small-scale mining and SDGs, you've already seen the first slide that I had, and what I can say is your work as artisanal and small-scale miners impact all the 17 goals to different degrees. And sometimes your work presents both the challenges and the opportunities that we are addressing through this paradigm. The products of ASM is essential for all aspects of life, including health, education, and general community development. Sometimes the investment that you put in villages, wherever you're mining, is putting resources in people's pockets that enable them to have access to health, education, and general community development. You also mobilize physical, technological, and financial resources that can also uplift the entire community where you're working. At the same time, mining in general has contributed to some of the challenges that the SDGs are trying to address, be it environmental degradation, displacement of communities, economic and social inequalities, and health challenges. I have been to quite a number of places where ASM mining is happening. I think for those who have attended some of the presentations that I've given, I always like to give an example of a place which is not too far away from here, which we call Chuula, where open minerals are being mined for construction of many buildings in Lusaka. And when you go there, because of unsustainable mining practices by ASM, you find that they are just leaving holes unattended, they are just cutting down trees, and that kind of thing. So to a larger extent, some of the challenges that we are trying to address in the SDGs are caused by the mining or the work of mining companies at that level. So again, as I said, these are some of the global challenges over time. These are some of the biggest challenges over time. We talk about climate change. In many times, I think many countries that are represented here could have already seen the face of climate change. You might be interested to learn that some of these climate change issues are coming from the activities of artisanal and small-scale mining, including the operations of big mines that I think we see. Zambia is one such example that has huge investment in mining. Just one slide again because the African mining vision is also challenging us to ensure that we're inclusive in our approach. We work with the communities where we are mining from or where we're investing. This is a continental framework that was adopted in 2009, and it seeks to create a transparent, equitable, and optimal exploitation of mineral resources to underpin broad-based sustainable growth and socio-economic development, and also to address quite a number of persistent social, gender, and income inequalities that I think we see in many parts of Africa, including Southern Africa, where many of us come from. We have not seen a very big number of African countries ratifying the African mining vision, despite the good message that it preaches. I don't know, maybe it's lack of political will, maybe we are not doing enough as International Development Agency, maybe the civil society organizations are not doing well, maybe we do not have a very good legal framework to force us to do that. So I would urge you to Google that and take a look at it, because it has a very strong inclination and a very strong message on how we should work with communities, how we should leave communities better than the way we found them. And basically that is going to come if you take into account the community voices as you invest in their communities. The next sets of slides, we will talk about why community voices, and I think you'll see that my messages are quite interlinked in many ways. Despite the opportunity that presents itself to help people out of poverty where we're investing, the presence of artisanal and small-scale mining has not played a key role in transforming societies. I have put a number there which I think is very synonymous to this meeting because it was mentioned a few days ago. We have in this country we were told by the minister that we have over 2,000 licenses that were issued for small-scale mining, and out of which we only have less than 20 that are active. Now, again, that's for me, it's a missed opportunity in terms of using, sorry, that is my phone, is just end of transforming the society, but we have situations where we have over 2,000 licenses and only 20 that are active. That in itself is a missed opportunity. We also tend to see that when you look at the artisanal small-scale miners that invest in our countries, there's a tendency of thinking that the views of the traditional leader are the views of everyone. Many times, and we've seen it in this country, where the traditional leader sells a piece of land, whether for agricultural purpose, without consulting the people that they lead. Now, what we are saying is community voices are very important, and they go beyond the traditional leaders that you see. Just like in any group like this one, you find that there are people who naturally speak. And if you as a facilitator, you are not careful, you're the only one person who is going to be asking. The views of that person do not mean that those are the views of the class. So what we are saying is, as you go to invest, you must not only end at consulting the traditional leaders, create additional space where you can also speak to the women, speak to the youth, speak to the disabled, all those that have a stake in the environment, in the community where you're investing. Their voices are very important to be heard. We need to ensure that we do not compromise on the long-term development potential and mitigating environmental and social consequences that might arise. Once you do that, this is where we see that communities become what we call spectators of development that happens in the community. I will later talk about some of the challenges that might arise from that. Lack or failure to consult, failure to put in place participatory structures is actually might be termed as violation of human rights, which might result in some form of conflict between ASM and communities where they invested. So as much as possible, we need to ensure that we listen and hear to what people need. We've seen an experience in this country where even when bigger mining companies are doing their corporate social responsibility, they want to think on behalf of communities. They want to think that the community they need education, yet what they might need is something different. And as much as possible, that is very important. You are going to invest in a place where people have been living for a long time. You are going to invest in a place where you will now stop people from passing through that land and say, now this is my land, but yet this is where they have been playing village football, this is where they have been trespassing or grazing their animals, and yet you want to consult only the traditional leader. So that's why I'm saying I think it's important for us to go beyond that. It's also well documented that community participation is vital, is a vital part for resource governance, as it leads to better development outcomes for all stakeholders. Community ownership and lower project costs will only be achieved if we ensure that we have active and proper engagement with the community. We need to ensure that the strong opinions of traditional leaders are not what determines the rules of the game. As much as possible, as I said, we need to categorize all the different consequences that might be part and parcel of the communities where we are investing. And community voices are very important because you allow people to tell their own stories, you allow people to tell their own life experiences, and you also allow them to articulate the future that they want. And many times, as I said, when you go to invest, we are not only seeing you as one who is going to get profits, but what is it that people are going to gain out of that, whether it's being jobs, whether it's the other services that might come along the structures that you might be putting in place. You could again look at different structures that might be there. For example, in this country, you have what you call the work development committees, you have the area development committees, you have the women's saving groups. All those presents an opportunity for you to interact and talk to communities and ensure that you are addressing the real needs of the community. For us to have a very strong community voice in our operation, in order for us to enhance trust between communities, government, and investors, you get your license from the Minister of Mines. I was speaking to Mr. Kanyama over lunch, who is the president of the Federation here, and you find that out of the 2,000 mine licenses that we have, people are busy mining on your ports. And when people are mining on your ports, people are thinking about you, the owner of the license. And if you do not have proper community, if they do not know what you are doing, you are creating division among the different players, being the community, the government, and yourself as an investor. In development discourse, I mean, we always talk about whose reality counts. I do remember in a different sector where this big international development corporation decided that we need to help this community. And the only way we're going to help this community is by ensuring that each household has a borehole. And we are consulting the people, they went and sank boreholes in the village at each and every household. Yet the women continued going to draw water from the river. Why? Because that was not their number one development priority. And two, by walking to the river, that was the only time they had to go or to be away from their homes or their husbands. So in short, what you're saying is, don't assume, don't think on behalf of the people. No matter who you are, no matter how much you see, the poverty that you see in people may not be what they are seeing themselves. And therefore, as artisanal and small-scale miners, or as policymakers, you need to ensure that we get to know the local knowledge, the local context, and ensure that the decisions that are made are addressing those issues. One size in development does not fit all. As much as possible, we need to be context specific. Topic. Again, we still emphasize we need to work with not for communities. We need to hear their voices. We need to allow them to participate. That is the only sure way you are going to ensure that you get what you call social license to operate. The Minister of Mines might give you a license, a technical, a financial license, but if you are at loggerhead with the communities, you are not going to mine. You only mine if you need the policeman. You only mine if you need security, if you have security. So as much as possible, when you are, this is why even when you are doing the social and environmental assessment or feasibility assessment, there is that opportunity that is created for you to consult and to talk. This is an opportunity that you should all utilize at all stages to ensure that you establish what you call, what we term as social license to operate. And this may not be written, this might be just using an agreement that you might socially reach by ensuring that, so for example, if you want to set a small community board, you have representation and participation of many different segments of that community. And also, it's also very important to ensure that they feel a sense of ownership and compensation from the exploitation of the natural resources. Nowadays, I think mining, especially small-scale mining, people think that you're making a lot of money. People think that you are going to get their resources at their expense. If you do not talk to them, if you do not take into account their voices, they might think that you have just come to reap and go. And I think those things have been seen. That's a challenge over time. If you go to a place called Lundazi here, you will see the agri-face of artisanal small-scale mining, where people just went, ripped off the ground and took off. And those are examples that community members are not happy about. Those are examples that community members are using when they are creating what you call the social license to operate. As much as possible, you need to dispel and demonstrate that you're different by ensuring that you engage with them from the onset. You make them part and parcel of the process. If there's any corporate social investment that you want to do, you make sure that the decision is not only made by you, but by also their contribution in terms of determining what form we should take. What can we do to strengthen community voices? This might be an appeal to those with authority to shape national development agendas. We need to strengthen legal policy framework, including making corporate social investment, for lack of a better term, mandatory. If you do not have a policy framework, if you do not have a legal framework,